My name is Katrina. My hometown is actually in Surrey. I grew up there, but for the past 7 years, I've lived in Los Angeles, California with my husband. My husband's here today. Can you raise your hand? This is Rex. So he's my best friend. We have lots of fun in life. We have a 4-year-old daughter. Her name is Kira, and she keeps our day exciting. She's always coming up with the funniest things to tell us, so we love our little Kira. So before I get into my story, I had something I wanted to share with you guys today. So because we live in Los Angeles, and my husband, he's an author and a speaker, and we've been able to travel all over the place, and one place that we've covered the map is the U.S. And I'm finally in Canada where I can share some things with you. So I met a lot of Americans who don't know a lot about Canada. And so this is the perfect place to share it. So I want to let you know, one time I was in Florida, and somebody found out that I was from Canada, and with a serious look on their face, they said, "Do you speak the Canadian language?" And I said, "Yes." And they proceeded to say, "Can I hear the Canadian language?" I said, "You're hearing the Canadian language, we speak English here." So that was funny. And another time was in California, when same scenario, where I was from, and they were really excited and said, "What is it like to live overseas?" And at that point, I wanted to pull out a map and be like, America's here, Canada's here, we're connected, So I want you to know that I'm educating Americans, one person at a time. I'm letting them know what's up in Canada, so I'm really happy to be here because I can speak Canadian and I'm from overseas, so I'm glad I'm here. Alright, one thing I'm excited about today is that I'm in a room full of courageous people. You all have shown courage and overcome in some way, that's why you're here. And I want to let you know what courage in the dictionary means. In the dictionary, it says it is defined by the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulty, danger, and pain with bravery. Wow, that describes you. You have displayed that, that's why you're here. So you face things in your life and you have been able to overcome them. So that's something to be proud of. Life can be hard at times. We all have our good days, our bad days, and everything in between. And I just want to share with you one of my lowest days that I've had. I was 15 years old, it was October, and it was close to Halloween. I was really excited about getting dressed up and going out with my friends. And on that particular day, I had to go see the heart specialist. And the reason I had to go was a few weeks prior, my family doctor had heard a heart murmur in my heart. And he said, a lot of people have heart murmurs, but, just go get it checked out to make sure you're okay. So I didn't think much of it. I went with my mom. We went to the heart specialist. I got all the tests done, stickers all over you, where you have to lie still. And we were waiting for the test results. I was just relaxed. And the doctor came out and he sat us down and he said, "Katrina, you have a rare heart disease that is life-threatening." Now, at 15, that's not something you want to hear. And I remember being in such disbelief. I remember my mom drove me home and I was crying and I was like, why is this happening to me? I am healthy. None of my friends have heart diseases. I was just blown away that how could this come out of nowhere and come wreck my life? All those thoughts that you think when you face something, you never order off of life's menu. When I was told by the doctor that I had a heart disease, I felt like a huge restricting label was placed on me. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I was weak and fragile. I felt like not the person that I felt moments before. And I was restricted. The doctor told me I had to take medicine, that I had to go for checkups, I wasn't allowed to play certain sports, and that eventually he said if my disease grew, that the part of my heart that was diseased, it would erupt and I would die. So that's what I was faced with. I want to ask you, who or what has labeled you in life? You know, labels can really crush us. They can really take away from who we were made to be. Have you ever felt those same thoughts as me? Have you ever felt like something happened to you and you were labeled a problem? Maybe you were not good enough? Or maybe like me, in one day your life changed because you were given a diagnosis. And I know it's hard to be a teenager, you know, the pressures that you're already feeling, the things that you go through and you're experiencing to become the person you're destined to be. So these labels in life can really take away the confidence out of us. But the great news is, you have a choice. You have a choice if you're going to be defined by the negative labels, or you're going to decide to not let those negative labels define you. And also the restrictions that might be placed on you. And I don't care who's put those labels on you. Sometimes the people closest to us can mishandle us because they're hurting themselves. But we still have that choice. We have the choice if we're going to be defined by negative labels. And that is exactly what I had to do. I knew that I had a heart disease and that I had to get medical help, but I didn't own that I was a disease. There's a difference when you say, I am a disease versus I have a disease. The same way, if you have a challenge, if you're saying I am a challenge versus I have a challenge, there's a big difference there in how you're going to see yourself. Knowing this, I decided that I need to be powerful, and I adopted new labels for myself. I had to adapt a new identity to overcome. I started saying that I'm courageous, that I can conquer this, that miracles can happen to me. I remember thinking that this flesh, this body that I can see, and this disease that I had, that wasn't the real me. And that's not who I was going to be defined by. The real me is who I am on the inside. And one of the greatest encouragements that I did get, that I can't deny, was my faith in God. And I drew a lot of strength from that because I was able to think big and believe what God says about me. So I decided my thoughts would have to be powerful. And of course I had the support of my family. So over the course of 4 years, 15, 16, 17, 18, I had this disease. Most of my friends didn't know there was anything wrong with me because I still chose to enjoy my life. I remember at 18 I had gone for my appointment, and the doctor said to me that, Katrina, your heart, it's my aorta that was ballooned out. He said, if you don't get this fixed, any day it's going to erupt and you're going to die. So I was forced to get surgery. But I was thinking miracle-minded. And that's what I did. The night before my surgery, the doctors told me the complications that I can experience during this. They said there's a huge risk that you can die. And the surgeon had done 40 years of surgeries, and he said he'd only had a handful of cases like mine. So with that, he gave me sleeping pills today, and I remember, I'm being completely honest, I remember I just had a moment where I was able to pray and read my Bible, and this peace came over me, this surreal peace, because I had focused my mind and my thoughts on something so high that I was going to come through this. And the next day I went for surgery. It was a beautiful spring day in April, just like today. My parents had driven me. I went to the Children's Hospital in Vancouver. I remember when I got there, I was told to walk to my own operating room table and lay up on it. And I remember lying where the surgeons were running around and the nurses and they had all these instruments, and I felt kind of overwhelmed in that moment, and fear tried to grip my heart, but I repeated what I had been repeating, and I said that I'm a miracle and good things are going to happen to me today. So with that, I was put to sleep. I had a 6-hour surgery. They stopped my heart for 3 hours. They had to cut through my ribs. They pulled my whole heart out. They took my whole aortic root, which is the biggest artery in your heart that pumps blood to the rest of your body. They put a prosthetic one in and a titanium valve. And on that operating room table, the surgeon said, "This girl should not be alive." They said, "There's only so much you can tell from the test." But they were shocked, and they, out of their own mouth, said, "This girl is a miracle." And that's what I believed I was. Yes, it sucked to live with a heart disease. It sucked to have to go get surgery. And it sucked that I spent months recovering. I don't know if anybody here has broken your ribs, but they put them together with twisted ties, and it just hurts to breathe. And even to cough, it was the most painful thing. And I spent months recovering and just trying to feel like myself again. But looking back, that experience made me who I am today. Looking back, I was able to watch this conqueror rise up inside of me. And I knew that no matter what I face in life, that I could do it because I went through this. And it gave me so much strength. And you know, my story doesn't end there. A couple of years later, I had an unfortunate circumstance where I was raped. And from that, I got an eating disorder, and I became really depressed. And just to give you a summary of how I got better, it was the same way when I faced my heart disease. I had to make the choice to get help, to get better. I had to, at some point, stop carrying the labels that I was raped, that I had an eating disorder, that I was depressed. I had to put on new labels. I know that I had to work through a lot of pain and break down lies that I was believing about myself. But I was able to come through that. And one thing I learned was that bad things can happen to us, but they don't have to live inside of us. Sometimes we can't control what goes on the outside, but we can control what goes on the inside. And those truths were so powerful to me. That is what got me through. That's what helped me get better. And we can choose to be courageous enough to put on new identities. And that doesn't mean we ignore our scars, but our scars should always remind us how far we've come. You know, I have a really big scar on my chest, and you can't see it today, it's my shirt, but I know it's an imperfection, but I'm really proud of my scar. I look in the mirror, and my friends notice that I don't mind it being out, and I just look at that scar and I say, I conquered that. You know, I did that. And so our scars should be a reminder of how far we've come. And if you can take away anything from my story, I want you to remember that you can be pitiful or you can be powerful. And it's our choice. And I wrote down my own definition of what being pitiful and powerful is, so I'm going to read it to you. I don't want you to be pitiful, but this is the definition. I wrote, being pitiful is pretty simple. You feel sorry for yourself, you lose yourself in hopelessness, you don't practice courage, you let circumstances overtake you, you don't make choices to better your future. And being powerful is you put on courage, you decide to see things through hope, you have a never give up attitude, you find strength in others, you read books to encourage you, you become defensive for your own life, and you rise up when challenges come your way, and you can conquer the mountains in your life. Who wants to be powerful here? I know I do. I love the story of Edmund Hillary. He tried to climb was climbing and he had to retreat. And in frustration, he turned and he yelled at the mountain. And he said, "Everest, today you beat me, but I got news for you. I will be back. And the truth is, you can't get any bigger, but I can." And then he went home, he made a couple changes into his approach, and he went on to be the first person to climb Mount Everest. And he had many people follow after him. I love his attitude. He said, "You beat me today, you will not conquer me." This is a great example of a no-limit person. Another example of people who think limitless are little kids. Little kids are so innocent, and they're full of wonder. I know my daughter, she's 4, she's told us that she wants to be everything from Doc McStuffins to Mickey Mouse to adopting all the kids in the world that don't have mommies or daddies. And why does she think so limitless? It's because nobody ever told her she can't do that she can't be great. When we're kids, people don't talk us out of our dreams and who we can be. Kids have no restrictions. But when we get older, our innocence fades and life happens to us that can really dim the dreamer inside of us. But what if you tapped into that childlike wonder and you started to dream of the world that you wanted to live in? What if you're not just overcomers, but you become a positive impact in this earth? What if you use your pain and what happened to you as fuel and power to do something great with your life? You know, I've been able to take my story to orphans and sex slaves in Thailand, to well-known actresses in Hollywood, and I've taken my story. I look for ways every day that I can give it away, that I can encourage other people. Because I know that if I encourage you, if I can do it, you can do it. And I love that encouragement to live that lifestyle where your pain is not going to be wasted, and you're going to use it as power to help others. You know, some of you might not want to be speakers and stand up here like me today, but I know that there's big things inside of you. I believe some of you are going to write books, maybe start a blog. Others, I think you're going to go and start after-school programs to help people just like yourselves get better. I believe some of you will further your education and inspire through teaching and becoming doctors and inventing things. You know, I believe I'm standing right now in a room full of world changers. So don't ever settle in life. You've come this far, you're an overcomer, you have unlimited potential. Your life is a blank canvas. You get to write the story. Make the decision today to be a no-limit person and start visioning where you want to go and who you want to be. This is my challenge to you. Thank you.